Kevin.
We are Puerto Rican Adventures. He's the Cuban, I'm the Rican, and we are really hoping that you will tag along with us on our family adventures. All right, so we are wanting to share, well, our first video, we want to share with you what we're going to be titling our SKOOLIE adventure. We bought a bus and we are so excited. We are so excited to do this. In another video, we'll share like why we're doing this and all that great stuff.
Processes. Yeah, like, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that have made SKOOLIEs and have said this is a great adventure. There are also people that says it's a terrible idea.
Yeah. So everyone's gonna differ, and so we in a later video want to share maybe kind of a little bit more in detail like our thought process and what happened, because for us at least when we were doing our own research and watching other people's videos, that was really helpful in considerations because we didn't know. So we'll do that some other time, but this is gonna just be us picking up the bus.
Yeah, so we bought our bus from a school district in Utah. So basically, they put in a bid, and remarkably, we got the bid. So here we are now. We this was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and we basically had 10 days to pick up this bus.
Yes, and we will start this whole kind of adventure just letting you know when we put the bid on this bus, we had no expectation that we would actually get this bus. We just kind of wanted to get our feet wet in bidding and what it was going to be like. We had no expectation that this was going to happen. So we were probably way less prepared than what we should have been to do that. We already had some ideas of what this was going to take, but I feel like by no means were we actually prepared for what we had to do. I had a while back actually purchased like a SKOOLIE guide that happened to really help us when we first started our research. So that was really helpful, and we'll share that in maybe another video. But basically
we had a week to pick up the bus, or 10 days. So within that, a couple of days, I mean, we worked 9 to 5 jobs during the week. So we like, okay, let's get this going. So literally we booked a flight for a Thursday night to get there on a Friday so that we can get the bus on a Friday and then drive it back throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Again, I had never seen the bus before, had never seen it start, never driven a bus. And so I kind of had planned along the route too, just in case we ran into major issues, that we would be stopping and dumping the bus at
like major areas.
Like a diesel mechanic.
Right. So just know that we flew in on a Thursday night to pick up the bus on a Friday morning, and we only had the weekend because we work on Monday. So that was kind of a time crunch for us that there was a lot of pressure to like get this done.
Yeah.
So that was the plan.
So before before picking up the bus, we got insurance. That was a little more of a struggle, but ultimately ended up going through Progressive, which was really nice. They have a commercial division that was super easy. They basically said, you're basically going to have the bus and it's for personal use. They let me register it, insure it, and then did some more research, and we ended up doing a DMV appointment to get a temporary moving permit through Utah. So once we got there on Friday, we hit the ground running, ended up going to the school district office, ended up going to the wrong place, ended up going to the right bus depot eventually. We got there. I think a lot of my anxiety kind of was diminished when I saw the condition of the bus yard, condition of the shop. That they had a humongous shop. They had everything was covered. Every bus that wasn't in use was trickle charged or was connected to electricity. So once we got there, the guy handed us the maintenance records and the title and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, and that was really great. I think that even though we didn't really know the condition, because even though it is a district, you never really know, but seeing all those things, seeing how they cared for it, and the gentleman that helped us, he mentioned that the only reason they were getting rid of the bus now was because this is actually a handicap accessible bus, and the lift for the chairlift that they have, like the bolts were coming loose, so they didn't retire this bus for any reason except that the lift was coming loose.
Yep. So that was great. Definitely reassuring too. So we ended up getting the title, going back to the DMV. The DMV was a remarkable process. We're from California, so the DMV here is
3 hours minimum.
Yeah, well, if you're lucky with an appointment. We show up to the DMV within 20 minutes. We're in and out with our permit. Guy would made fun of us. Actually had a personality, which was fantastic. So we got that taken care of, and then we get back to the bus, and now the real challenge starts. Basically, we had the keys. We just basically drove off the lot.
Gosh.
I kind of went around the block just to kind of get used to, driving a 35-foot bus. I've never driven something that long. Got used to that.
And then we split ways
Yep.
because we had a rental car to get us obviously to where we needed to go to. So we split ways. He went to go get like gas and things like that. And I went to go drop off the car at the airport, got an Uber, met him at a gas station. And that is kind of when we started.
Yeah, so we were probably on the road within 3 or 4 hours of actually getting this all started. So it's pretty remarkable.
Which I think that neither of us expected.
Yeah.
Like, again, from California, like usually things take longer for one reason or another. And so the fact that we did this within a few hours was super surprising, I think, for both of us, and super exciting that we could just get started. So the video that we're going to show you, it starts when we, after we got back from the DMV. We had already gone there to get the maintenance log, the title, the keys. We went to the DMV, got the moving permits, and so that is where the video starts.
Yep.
And so hope you enjoy our little adventure.
All right, so here we are. This is our bus. And we're gonna turn it on. Let's see. Let's see. And it turns on. Here's our bus. Oh, we did it. Look at that. Woo! All right, so we are here on the bus. Got our coffee, which you must get, of course. And we're getting ready to head out. Just gonna do a quick check around the bus and we're out. Here we go. It's coming out. Kevin's gonna try to figure out how to drive this. And there it goes. Almost ready to go. We had to split up for a little bit to take back our rental car and get back. It was a whole thing, but we're back. We're ready to go. And we're off to Arizona here in a moment. And hopefully we get there in one piece. See you there. So we have made it to St. George, Utah, right?
Yep.
St. George, Utah. That is about 5 hours, I think, into a
12-hour trip.
12-ish hour trip. We're going to stop here for the night and then try to get an early start tomorrow. It was not as bad, I think, as we thought.
Hit rain, hit wind.
Hit some rain, hit some wind, but overall the bus is functioning, which is what we wanted, and we got here safe and sound. So we will see you tomorrow.
You see the bed. Hello.
Okay, good morning. It is currently 4:15 in the morning.
It's 4:09 technically.
I was rounding. So we are headed out early this morning.
Much easier because there's no air conditioning.
Yes, it's gonna hopefully be cooler. We got ourselves into bed super early, so we are actually awake. Got a good 7-ish hours of sleep. So we're gonna be heading out soon. And this is better because I'm supposedly driving.
Maybe.
So there's less people.
This
So
may be our
less
final-
chances.
This may be our final
This
video.
must be our first and final video. So wish us luck. This is much better lit than I expected it to be. So I'm just gonna show you how we decided to park in the hotel parking lot. And we have our anti-theft, I guess, mechanism, which is you have to be very acrobatic to get into the bus. So you have to come in through the back. Kevin's gonna do it and then let me in through the front. And I think we've gained entry.
So we are starting our morning by going to the gas station. Our gas gauge fuel gauge doesn't work. So just out of an abundance of precaution, we are going to fill up the tank because we do have quite a long trip today. So we're gonna start going to the gas station and then we'll be on our way. So while Kevin is off grabbing some provisions, I figured I'd give you an update about where we're at. It's about 7:30 in the morning. We've been on the road for about 3 hours now. We passed through Vegas and crossed over the Hoover Dam. Well, we didn't cross over the Hoover Dam, but we crossed into Arizona and we're at a truck stop now, just getting some stuff, water and things like that. But the intention was initially for me to drive, and though in theory it is better to practice while there aren't as many cars on the road, obviously, as you can see, I didn't end up lasting very long. I think I only lasted 10 minutes, maybe 15, and that was because I was too nervous to pull over on the side of the road, so we had to wait for an exit. So what ended up happening was everything was fine while we were, in kind of a more lit area, but it was 4:30 in the morning, and obviously it is pitch black. This is my first time driving the bus, and even though in theory I knew it was going to be different when it was really, really dark, I couldn't quite get my bearings. I'll show you in a little bit, but there's from the driver's seat you have 3 side view mirrors, all kind of with different I guess magnifications, if you will. And so first of all, that was a little bit disorienting. And so when we were getting gas, I was trying to orient myself, okay, you have to look at the side view mirrors, and you need to look at all this stuff. But then of course in the pitch black, I was like, there's my mirror, but it's pitch black, so I can't orient myself. So that was the first thing that was a little scary to me. Second thing that I didn't really think was going to be an issue, but turned out that when I started was kind of an issue, is that at least in this bus, I don't know for other buses, but at least in this bus, the gas pedals are right next to each other. The gas and the brake are right next to each other. In a car, there's a little bit more space, so you can like physically obviously go from one pedal to the other. What was happening, since I was a little bit, they're very close together, I was kind of hitting them at the same time, and I couldn't look down to orient myself as to how to, or which pedal was which. I was kind of disoriented, so I couldn't look down. It was pitch black. And so that was another thing that was making me super, super nervous. So because of that, I decided to have Kevin, you know, take over, because he has, although not much more experience, he's a little bit more experienced because he had driven all day yesterday, so about 5 hours. And so he was a little bit more comfortable. And I'm glad we did, because something that was also unexpected was that we went through kind of a mountain range. Now, the mountain range, it wasn't like switchbacks or anything like that, but it was still tight. It was dark. The other thing that we realized that we didn't know yesterday was that the headlights in this bus don't have a lot of visibility. I'd say maybe 10-15 feet in front of us, maybe. So that's one of the things that's going for sure. And so that was another thing. So like the low visibility. So we were white knuckling it, but we were talking, and Kevin's here now, but we were talking, and even though we were white knuckling it and it was a little bit scary, I don't know if we would have necessarily done anything different, because it was scary, but there were less cars on the road. So Kevin was able, I think, to go 40 miles an hour, no problem. He wasn't like impeding traffic. And of course, another thing that was a little bit scary was that, and we didn't take into consideration, is that semis, I think in the middle of the night, are just hauling. They're just hauling. We were just like, we knew that there were going to be cars on the road, but I guess we didn't realize that, you know, semis take advantage and just haul, you know, in the middle of the night. So we had semis going by us, so we were white knuckling a little bit, but we also don't think we would have done it any differently, because it was a little bit nerve-wracking just with the cars and semis that we had at 4:30 in the morning. It was still a little bit nerve-wracking. So in the middle of the day, or you know, when it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, there's more people, it probably would have also been nerve-wracking. So we still probably would have done it in hindsight. We went to breakfast, as you saw, in McDonald's. That was in Vegas, but we wanted to get there out of there as quickly as possible, because as much as it's a little bit, we weren't quite like in the downtown area, and there's, you know, a little bit wider lanes and all these things. There was a lot of traffic. It's Vegas, and we're still not very comfortable. We're not comfortable in traffic. It's our first time driving a bus, so we kind of wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. So that's why we just kind of zoomed in and zoomed out, got breakfast. And that's why we're stopping here at a truck stop, because it's nice and wide, and you know, very easily could have parked. So we are about 3 hours, I think, maybe 4, to Arizona. We're in Arizona, to our final destination, if you will. So we're gonna keep going, and probably I'll show you a little bit later what I was talking about with the rear view mirrors and the gas pedal and the brakes, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about.
And something to keep in mind when you're driving a bus. I mean, we had every intention. I think we asked Natalia every intention to find a place where it's big, but you just don't know until you get there what you're going to be coming across. And you go into McDonald's, and it may be a simple thing, but there's construction, there's a median, and it just makes things way more difficult. So that's something that we had to contend with. Driving a small car, but opposed to driving a 35-foot school bus is a big difference. So that's something to contend with, and that's something that I have to get used to, and we have to get used to as we go forward with this.
So frustrations were a little high. So it was a little bit of a moment. And also on the navigation side, you know, if we kind of like missed a turn because it was too tight, navigation would have you flip a U-ey, and we're like, obviously we're not going to flip a U-ey. So on navigation side, you have to, you know, kind of, even though you're getting rerouted in that way, keeping in mind, obviously, we have a bus, and so we're not going to be able to just quickly flip a U. So we lost about half an hour on that. And so, but we're still making really, really good time. But we're going to keep it going, and we'll give you an update in a little bit. All right. We got here around 12, so that was about 7.5 hours to get here, and so it went really smoothly. Got the paperwork done and whatnot. The rest of the trip went really well, and so we've made it. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to share a little bit about just kind of the things, being a new driver to the bus, to share with you what I was talking about earlier, that were kind of my hesitations as to why Kevin ended up being the one driving and not me. And we've ultimately decided that he's gonna get comfortable driving and then teach me, because both of us being newbies, we're both anxious, and it's just not a good learning environment in general. So he's gonna get more acclimated to it, and then I'll learn eventually, because it's important for both of us to know how to, drive the bus. So let me go ahead and show you what I was talking about before. Okay, so I'll start right here with the brake and the gas. As you can see, right here, the two pedals are super close together, and so what was happening was that since they're not further apart, and you can obviously see the steering column, they have to be squished together. So what was happening is that I was stepping on both at the same time, and so I was getting a little bit disoriented and couldn't look down to figure out what I was doing. So super dark, and so there was that. As you can see here, obviously the dash, super complicated, lots of buttons, lots to orient yourself to. So that was also a little bit disorienting. But then when you look here, you can see the side view mirrors. And this is obviously much different than you would in a car. And so getting used to the different magnifications and what they look like and whatnot, that was also a little bit difficult. So those were kind of the reasons for just trying to tap out and, having Kevin drive. So the other thing that I just wanted to point out, if you're considering getting a bus, is the length of the bus, especially back here. One of the things that we're being super cautious about is the swing that you have in the back. This is, I don't know if it's called the pivot point or whatnot, but your rear tires are where the entire bus pivots. And so when you have a longer backside here, all of this, when you turn, swings out. And so one of the things that you need to be aware of with your bus, and one of the things we were super aware of, was how much swing the bus would have while we were driving. So this is just a different angle, but you can see how much swing the bus would have. All right, so we have made it. Thank you for joining us. We have closed one chapter of adventure. Now the next is to figure out how we're getting home. So that will be the next thing we'll figure out. But we are here, and this is the end of the bus. Hopefully we'll see it soon.
What's it gonna be like?
So I don't know if we mentioned before, but one of the biggest struggles that we had going into this was finding storage for the bus.
Yeah, I think I called, I would say 20 or 30 spots, and they were all either booked or said that didn't have a space, 40-foot space, or they said we have a 6 to 9 month wait list, but you can put yourself on the wait list, or we flat out don't have anything, or they wouldn't even call me back.
Right.
So,
or the cost was astronomical. For
yeah,
some of
or
these
like,
places.
yeah, so we ultimately ended up deciding to try out of the state. I ended up having family in Arizona, so I ended up just trying to find a spot in Arizona. Ended up finding a place, however, they wouldn't do it unless we had the title on hand. So we didn't have a for sure spot. We're heading down the 15 straight to Arizona, and we didn't have a for sure spot until basically we get there with the title, and then they'd say, okay, you're ready to go.
And I think that's one of the things that probably lent to most of the anxiety is like, we're driving this bus without really having a place to store it.
Yeah.
So if we get there and they're like, oh, sorry, we already have reservations for the rest of our spots, it's like we are up a creek without a paddle. So that was kind of, I think, one of the other major stressors for us.
But so when we get there, lady was super nice with the title.
Mm-hmm.
Basically had the last covered spot that they had, and we're the only bus parked in their large area
large.
with that's a bus basically. So she was kind of intrigued by that. But yeah, that's where we thought the adventure ended there, but that wasn't it. We had to.
It's a whole nother thing, because in order to have it at her place, we had to get it registered. Mind you, this is Saturday. The DMV is closed. So now we had to find a place that had DMV services. For us, it'd be like an equivalent of a AAA. So we went to this place that's like the equivalent of a AAA. We go there thinking like, okay, it's fine. We're going to go, we're going to register, it's fine. We're going to call it a day. No. We have to now get it smogged.
Yeah.
So now we have to go.
Well, yeah. So we went to the DMV place. Again, you're dealing with a bus. It's not a very common
And it's not
thing.
converted.
It's not like it's a truck or a car. I mean, you see a Bluebird, they go, first of all, at least people don't know what that is. So it's not converted. So initially she was starting to register it, and they said, oh, we have to get it smogged. So we had to we had to get the bus, go back to get it emissions tested. That was super easy. That was super nice.
Which also, by the way, in my head, this is 3:00 on a Saturday. Sunday, everything's closed. In my head, in California, there is no way.
Correct.
No way you would be able to get all of this stuff done in 2 hours.
So yeah, basically we get the bus emissions tested, we go back, ended up registering it as a commercial vehicle for personal use, and then we end up finally storing it. So that was kind of definitely a win. Again, super, I would say in the grand scheme of things, we're what we're used to, way less relatively, or not as painful as we'd be here in California. We'd still be doing it now. So that was something that was super helpful. And now we have the bus, has plates, and now the next day was getting us home, and that was,
which we also didn't have planned.
Correct.
None of this stuff is planned. So we also, once we were done, and then we finished this right at 5:00, and we were like, oh my gosh, sigh of relief. Now we're like, well, now we got to get home. And we looked at flights and renting a car. Ultimately, we decided to rent a car and get home as early as possible the next day, because we have work on Monday. So
our bus is stored in Arizona, and it's being trickle charged, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. So hopefully you will join us for a follow-up to this adventure. We aren't going to be converting it right away, but we do have other things that we are going to be sharing with you guys.
Stay tuned. I mean, we've got not just this adventure. We're crazy. We have another adventure up north too.
Yeah, so we want to share that with you, and hope you'll tag along with us. Please subscribe to follow that adventure.
Our adventures.
Yes, our adventures. All right. Thanks for sticking around. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Bye. Rude. I'm ready. My head itches. Okay, I'm ready. Action. Take 14. Just start over. You can't just 9 seconds to 10 seconds and it's not like.
Why can't you laugh? It's fun. Why are you so serious? Smile.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Natalia.
I am Kevin.
We are Cuba Rican Adventures. He's a Cuban, I'm the Rican, and we're really hoping that you will join us for our family adventures.